So you can think about it as thought, energy, and then matter, right? Information, energy, and matter. And many of in the ancient yogic sciences, this was known as, people talked about this, right? One was called the concept of Purusha, right? Which was the vision, which was the unmanifest thought. You had the Prakriti, which was the energy, and then the actual manifestation, which was matter. In physics, we call it information, energy, and matter. So you have to have all three. So whenever significant changes occurred, there were always people who understood the times that they were living in. And for that time, they used the best science or philosophy or knowledge base that they knew at that time. And that knowledge base was used to compel that vision, but you also had to work. So if you look at the American Revolution at one point, and you can look at many different points in human history, the people who were behind the American Revolution were a very small set of people. They came out of the period of the world where new major advancements were taking place in the physical sciences. There were a lot of philosophical discourse, right? It was really a period of the Enlightenment, post-Renaissance. And then out of that, they had a vision, which was a concept of inalienable rights, that human beings had rights which existed beyond any other man, right? They existed. And then they went on to do the hard work. You had to fight a revolutionary war. You had to create structures, the concept of balance of power, all right? But that was nearly 200, 300 years ago. So when we look at today, the vision that I've come to conclude that all human beings, at least the 8 billion of us, want is truth, freedom, health, truth, freedom, health. And I say truth, freedom, health without the and in it. And this is, and as I share this, you'll understand why this is important. Truth, freedom, health, if you write that down, are principles. 3 of what I call 9 principles that exist in system science, in yogic science, in any science, and which I was able to uncover in 2007. These are fundamental principles, but those same principles also occur in engineering systems theory, called transport, conversion, and storage. They also occur in ancient systems of Indian medicine, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. All right, so truth, freedom, health is the vision, right? Freedom, which is the ability for information, matter, and energy to move. Freedom in the world of engineering, that was called transport, right? So if you take a general systems theory course, you'll study that as transport. Interesting enough, the ancient systems of Indian medicine, that was called Vata, V-A-T-A. Okay, and I'm sure in different systems, they had different words for this. But without freedom, you cannot really do science. Science is the ability where all of us here may have 20 different ideas of why an apple falls from a tree down to the earth, right? And then you apply what's known as the scientific method. And the scientific method supports people having all sorts of different ideas. And in that environment of freedom, you pursue all of those ideas, but they all have to witness the test of time or the test of experimentation. And then you find what's real. And if it's real, then it becomes a law or a truth, and you go through this process. And truth itself is constantly being refined. And then finally, so in the Indian system, that was called the Pitta principle, the conversion process, where you take something from one form and it goes to another form. And then finally, truth or freedom cannot exist without structure. No one here on this call can fight for truth or explore truth or fight for freedom without your physical health. Physical health becomes important. Health is the infrastructure of your body. It's a vessel which allows you to pursue freedom and truth. Now, in the engineering systems process, that was called storage or structure. So you have transport, conversion, and storage or structure. In the Indian system, that was called kapha. So that's what I uncovered. And I'm not going to go into the entire framework of the scientific set of principles, but I was fortunate, as Ole said, because of this very interesting background, to be able to integrate these worlds of engineering, these worlds of politics and society, and these worlds of ancient systems of science to bring together a framework for humanity, a science that can really help people achieve truth, freedom, health. So you have the vision, truth, freedom, health. And what I've uncovered is an actual scientific framework. This scientific framework has existed for tens of thousands of years in ancient systems of traditional medicine, which came out of Asia, but it's also existed in engineering system science, which has existed over the last 50 years. And so without this framework of what I call system science, people are just sort of being very passionate. They're never going to achieve truth, freedom, health because it's just good ideas, or people may just have conversations all day. So that's a scientific framework. And then the engineering framework is actually engaging people to study this, understand this, and then get on the ground and actually build connections in local and global communities to fight. So this process is about thinking, fighting, and healing. But the individual has to do it individually and collectively. Think, fight, and heal. Truth, freedom, health.